The last tool, or set of tools rather, that I want to cover for logistics is the dimension tool. So a couple different types. You can either type DI on your keyboard. It'll kind of give you the same options here. Or otherwise you can go to the annotate tab, and it's the first section here. So a couple of different types here. Aligned is the default, and it is also probably the preferred type of dimension that you can use for most cases. As you can see, it grabs parallel lines. It will grab a line to a specific point that you select. The thing to note about dimensions is that you can measure two or more lines, faces, points, or whatever together. And the way that you finalize that dimension is just by clicking into a blank space, like so. If you do not click into a blank space, if you kind of click on an object, it will continue dimensioning until you click in a blank space. So I will go through the different types real quick, and then we will look at the technicalities of it. So that is aligned. Linear is specifically in the X and Y direction. And as you can see, when you move your mouse around, it actually adjusts itself to be in the X or the Y direction, especially if you're not measuring parallel lines. So that's linear. Angular is very helpful if you're trying to measure a specific angle, obviously. You can go inside of the shape, you can go outside of the shape. Gives you both options there. Radial, used for circles and radii, of course. You can see it gives you a radius. Very similarly, you have diameter, if you want to measure the entire circle. And then arc length is also pretty neat if you want to find essentially the circumference of an object. Now, dimensions are very similar to text and detail regions, meaning that if you want to change the text, you want to change the style of the lines, or the thickness of the lines, or color, or anything like that, you go through edit type. As you can see, there's a lot more options here, and honestly, most of them are pretty self-explanatory. So I'm just going to go ahead and leave it as that for you to play around with. And now a couple technicalities for how dimensions work. So to start, you have the ability to lock dimensions. And what that does is, if I click the lock button there, and if I were to move this line, as you can see, this dimension remains at 16 feet as it locks this other line to it. And another neat thing that comes with dimensions, delete that one, is that you can make dimensions equidistant. So again, if you use the aligned, for example, if you do multiple dimensions, this one's 24 feet, this one's 16 feet. As you can see, the EQ, which stands for equidistant, is crossed out, but if you click on it, it will actually create an equal dimension for you on both of those. And now if you actually want to show the dimension number on it, you can redimension it, and as you can see, it is confirmed equidistant. The next thing to know about dimensions is that if you select it, it will give you a couple little circles that you can adjust. So the bottom circle, if you click and drag that, it will adjust the offset of that dimension line from the object that it's dimensioning. And then the middle circle will actually allow you to adjust where that dimension is pulling to. And then the last thing, I don't know, I'm not entirely sure why it's concluded in the dimensions. I guess it has to do with location, not necessarily size though. But there are spot elevations and spot coordinates. They're probably not super important for logistics, site logistics. But as you can see, it gives you a so this was a spot elevation, and you can also pull spot coordinates, showing you exactly the X and Y of, or technically northing and easting of a specific point. And very similarly, you have the ability to edit the type. You have different options here in the properties. If you want a leader, a little shoulder, or not. And then of course, like everything else, you can edit the type. So that sums up pretty much everything you should need to know for the Annotate tab for site logistics.